Hello and welcome to the Visibility Vixen podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Lewis, and this show is 100% geared to come alongside you, give you a huge hug, and encourage you to keep going down this crazy trail of entrepreneurship. Between myself and the many incredible guests that come on to talk to you, you're going to leave each episode feeling inspired, motivated, and a little bit more balanced for the road ahead. I'm all about building a brand of integrity, purpose, and skyrocketing your visibility so that you can step into that incredible mission you were born to live. So grab a cup of iced tea, pop in those earbuds, and let's chat. Hey everyone, welcome back to Visibility Vixen. I am so excited because today Megan Minns is here. Hey Megan, how you doing, girl?
Good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I am excited too, guys. I've literally been harassing Megan for about a year and a half to come on the show. And so I'm so glad that she is here. And it's been so cool for me to watch her grow. And obviously, of course, I look up to her and I respect her. And we'll hear more from her in a second. But for me, I've watched her go from working in entrepreneur and assisting Mariah Cause and being absolutely kick-ass to starting also her own thing. And so it's been really fun for me to watch. So Megan, I think that you've been doing amazing work. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I want to hear a little bit more about you. Some of our audience may not be familiar with you, so give them a little spiel.
Awesome. Well, first off, thank you. Those kind words just like made my life right now. So I appreciate that. And so I am Megan Minns and I'm a project manager and systems strategist, specifically for online business owners. So I like to help people in two different ways: through services, which is where I help with project management directly, and then through online trainings and courses and templates and downloads and content, really all about the systems strategy. If you're a business owner and you're listening, you know how much tech and systems go into running a business. And, if that's not your gift, that can be a little overwhelming at first. So my goal is to simplify that whole new experience, if you're not familiar with that, and to just kind of guide you through that and help you figure out what systems and tools and software you actually need at the stage of business that you're in, and just help you along the whole journey. So that's my goal.
Yeah, and I think you do a bang-up job. It made me want to go English for a second. But yeah, I loved it. And what really helped me specifically was when you covered Gsuite and when you covered Asana, two systems that we're going to be chatting a little bit about today, because I had no idea Gsuite even existed. I knew of like Google Docs and all that. So when you brought that up on your YouTube channel, I was like, what is this? And like, it saved my life because I don't enjoy systems by any means, but I like the security of knowing that everything is done correctly and that everything is backed up like 2, if not 3 times. And so as much as I have like my hard drive and I love it, like I also wanted somewhere online to store everything safely that wasn't going to cost me, $500 a month. So the fact that you can get Gsuite as an independent business owner for like $10 a month has just radically changed everything for me. So
I love hearing that.
Thank you for those tips.
You're welcome. Yeah, if you guys are listening and haven't heard what Gsuite is, so it actually used to go by a different name. Google used to call it like Google Apps for Work, I believe is what the original name was. And that encompasses a ton of different apps that, you've probably heard of, like Google Docs, Google Calendar, Gmail. All of those are under this umbrella that is now called Gsuite. And as a business owner, you can hook up your custom domain. So you buy meganminns.com and you hook that up to Gsuite, and then you have your own business email address and calendars and Google Docs, and it just makes so easy, whether you're a solopreneur or you actually have a team, to be able to not only store files but share files, collaborate, keep things organized and secure. I have like no files on my actual computer anymore. My computer only has like downloads. Like I download it, and if I need to store it, it gets put into the drive. Otherwise, I delete it. So it's like totally changed my world as well. Because I just remember back in the day, I used to have all of this stuff built out on your computer, and then your computer craps out
Yeah.
and you're
And
screwed
like,
unless you backed up. And it's like, those are days of the past. So I love G Suite. So I'm glad you like using it too.
I absolutely love using it. And I know that for our listeners, some of them are more advanced in their business, some are just beginning. And I wish I would have been more organized in the beginning, because when you're first starting, you're like, you know, yeah, I'm creating this freebie, or yeah, like I'm doing this, but it's not that big of a deal. Like, I don't really need that yet. It's like, then you're going to get busier and busier, and then the amount of storage that you have is going to keep growing and growing, so that then you have to stop your life for a week to 2 weeks to figure out how you're going to get your systems together. So I don't think there's one like specific time on the road to success that it's the perfect time to start your systems. I think we should start as early as possible. What do you think?
Oh, I totally agree. I get asked a lot, since I teach systems and I teach people how to use Asana or G Suite or any other system you can probably think of. I will eventually have a training on it. But a lot of people ask me, do I need to use Asana when I'm a solopreneur, when it's just me? Do I need to use fill in the blank, any system? That's always the question that I get. And my answer is usually yes, especially with these foundational systems. I'm actually, this isn't live on my site quite yet, but something that will be going live within a week or two of this recording. So I don't know when this will go live, but I'm actually debuting a new way to even think about systems when it comes to online business. So yeah, I'm excited. So it'll be live on my site, I assume, by the time this recording goes live, but there's going to be 3 stages of business, and at each stage, I tell you what software to worry about. So when you're just starting out, you're going to be at what I call the defining stage. You're at stage 1, you're just getting your idea into the online space. You're creating your website, you're starting an email list, you're at the very beginning of this exciting journey. And I simplify, like, don't even worry about those pieces of software. Focus on G Suite, Asana, Squarespace, you know, buying a website, and I make recommendations. And so I think it's really going to be, I'm hoping, a game changer for new business owners to kind of get that sigh of relief with just like, okay, this is all you have to worry about right now. Don't worry about Teachable or Thinkific. Don't worry about Samcart. Don't worry about lead pages. Like, those are all amazing, but like, don't worry about them yet. Like, let's focus on the priority of starting a business and get that wrapped up. But with Asana, which is my favorite project management system, it's what I use. Yeah, good. I use it with my clients and also in my teachings. I just debuted a course called Asana HQ where I share all about how to use it. So I love Asana. But people who are solopreneurs, to go back to your main question, they always want to cop out of using it. And I think it's because when you don't have anyone else seeing the behind the scenes of your business, it's so easy to just be like, meh, like no one's really, meh, like no one sees it. And then as soon as you hire your first virtual assistant or team member, oh my gosh, you're like, oh, you're like, oh, this is kind of almost embarrassing, or like, I look like you don't have it together when you know you do. You're a great business owner, but just like you touched on, you have to backtrack and take valuable time. You know, you hired someone on your team because you're running out of time and you need to leverage your time. Suddenly you're going to have to add on your work to get things in order so that you can even delegate. So taking the time to use things like Asana and G Suite and have organized files, even a password manager to start saving passwords in a password manager. Starting, not only for, yes, I love LastPass, not even for personal, like as a person, it helps to have those things. But then once you think about the future of your business and adding on contractors or team members, to already have those things running makes your life so much easier because you just add them. Like, you just invite them to your Asana, share your folders with them, and share passwords with them through LastPass. It doesn't take you any extra time. So it's really thinking in the long run when in getting out of the short-term immediate, excuse me, I have the hiccups all of a sudden. It's getting out of the short-term mentality and thinking about the big picture and realizing that your business deserves this attention. That's my spiel.
Hey there, I'm so sorry to interrupt. I know this interview with Megan is absolutely amazing, and you know how much I love talking about systems. Yee! Even though we're talking more about project management, Asana, and G Suite today, I wanted to let you know about an awesome challenge that I'm hosting starting on Monday, which is called the Build Your First Funnel Challenge. Why I decided to host this training is because I used to be queen of figuring out all the systems I needed to run my business in a funnel. I'm talking from landing page to sales page to tripwire to email responder to course. And it was a little bit complicated. And I think, yeah, I had some pride like, yeah, I figured it all out how to do these 5 different systems in one. But when I moved over to a system called ClickFunnels, it did everything all in one software. It has saved me so much time. It saved me resources and finances to be able to have everything all in ClickFunnels. So I wanted to be able to show you guys how to do the same thing to simplify your systems, have everything all in one so that you can focus more on enjoying your free time, running your business, increasing your visibility, and maybe even starting to submit to press. So I'm going to include the link below. It is called the Build Your First Funnel Challenge, also known as the ClickFunnels Challenge. I'm so excited to bring you through it. This is going to be a super actionable training. So sign up with the link below and I will see you on the inside. Okay, enough of me. Let's get back to Megan.
Answer your question.
Yeah, and that's a great answer because I think that a lot of us think that systems is going to add to our workload when it actually takes a lot of, because when the brain doesn't have anywhere that things are stored, it constantly cycles it so that it will become long-term memory. So if you're like, oh, I have an upcoming blog post or video or whatever, it's like, okay, I have to remember to do this and this and this and this, and oh my gosh, I'm going to forget this and blah, 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 blah. So it's actually much more stressful to not have the organization in place where you can just not even think about it, check the tasks for the day, and click as you go. So I think that it's kind of a misconception that people think that systems are more stressful when it actually is going to free up more of your brain power to be creative.
Yeah, you're so right. I mean, something that I run into with my clients before we work together, right when we start working together, is they feel like systems and processes will limit their creativity or like make them feel like they're in a box. You know, a lot of these creative entrepreneurs, and you may be one if you're listening, or you may be one who, like, you're in this because you have this passion and this creativity and like you want to be that more like free flowing person. You don't want your day to be super structured. You may be that type of person, which a lot of my clients are. I'm a little more opposite. I love the structure. Which is why I teach what I teach. But so a lot of times I feel like people have this fear that they're going to agree to these systems or processes and suddenly feel stuck or confined or like and get into an unhappy place. And what's been fun is that to kind of guide people and clients through this journey is that as soon as they implement them, they realize that it's actually very freeing because they get to focus on the parts that they're actually really good at and not worry in the back of their mind, running through the checklist or micromanaging or even just knowing that they're doing things they're not good at. They get to just focus on the pieces that they love. And it actually becomes this really freeing and like it becomes a relief once you have it in place. So I think you're spot on with that. And people, you just need to just do it. And if maybe you need help, like if my main client, Mariah, who you mentioned, she was one of those people and she knew she couldn't impose those boundaries on herself or those processes. So that's why she reached out to work with me because she knew she could bring in someone else. So that's always an option too later on. If you have the revenue to bring on someone in your team, that's something a virtual assistant, an online business manager, or a project manager can really help you with as well.
Totally. And I think that that's a good point is that put these in place for yourself first because usually not everyone can be a Megan Mins, guys. So when you do onboard someone, it's really great to be able to put them, like she said, into your Asana and then have them have the educational videos already in there of how you do things, which is really hard to force yourself to do, but very important. My friend Kimberly Ann Jimenez told me to do that a while ago, and I've done about 50%, so I've been pretty good. But it makes things a lot easier for them too. I just onboarded someone as a Pinterest manager, and so she was able to immediately have everything there in Asana that she needed and the correct things up in Gsuite. So it made my life so much simpler. Now I just focus on improving images. So I think that it's really important before you can hire a VA, have those things in place, and then when you do get to that point, you're organized enough and you have your workflows down so that someone can know how you do something and not think that they're doing something the way that they would that's actually frustrating for you.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, one of the things I think I don't know how many of your listeners are solopreneurs or have teams, or if there's a blend, but I think okay, so the solopreneurs out there, I mean, no one's perfect. You don't have to have 100% of your systems documented before you hire. It's okay if you don't have them all documented. I think the point is to start, and really with those recurring tasks, like thinking about the ones you do the most often. So for a lot of us, that might be content related, blog posts, if you do those weekly, or sending weekly emails, or it could be client related, you know, onboarding clients, offboarding clients, running the project, whatever it is, whether you're a designer or a coach. You know, we all kind of have our onboarding, our process, and then the relationship usually will end, you know, years or days later, depending on what you do. So, you know, what are these things you're doing over and over again? And how can you start documenting what that process is? Because there are days where we're tired and you're not feeling it, but you got to work because this is your business and you want it to be successful. And so if you can just have the list of things there for you already, it's going to make your life so much simpler. And so even as a solopreneur, just thinking about for yourself, I think we've all been there with the stress that can come from like not having that documented. Even creating a blog post can feel like this like crazy, chaotic, stressful thing if you're just like, okay, oh, I need to add this tag. Oh, wait, I forgot to upload the image. Oh, I didn't even do SEO research, you know, or whatever it is. Or this link is broken because I forgot to check my links. All the things that can come into something that is as simple as a blog post, and that can be very streamlined. Like your content creation process is probably the highest impact place to streamline and systemize, because it is something we all try to do as consistently as possible. And as soon as you start streamlining things, you're also going to find that the process is easier. You can actually be consistent, and you become in charge of your time again. Like something I've found, just to be totally honest with everyone listening, is I am not perfect, if you didn't know, but I am not perfect at content consistently. So like I will have periods of time where it's like, I started my business in 2013. So like this has been years of inconsistency where I would like blog for 3 weeks and then stop for like 3 months, especially at the beginning. And even as I started really finding my voice, I would go through little spurts of, you know, oh, I'm really good at content, and then it would fall off, and kind of just like finding that flow. And what I have found more recently is that I found a solution that has allowed me, it doesn't mean I do everything, it doesn't mean I do a blog post every single Tuesday, which is my general goal, but it means I get to be really in charge of my schedule. So in Asana, which is my project management system, I have my content calendar, and I've broken down my process for blog posts. And I have like a task that I use as a template over and over again for every piece of content. And I've grouped the different tasks by what day they need to be done by. And you kind of go backwards. So if I want this to go live every Tuesday, then this needs to happen Tuesday. This needs to happen Monday. This needs to happen 1 week before, 2 weeks before, kind of grouping it like that. Not only saves me time when I'm like building out a new blog post, because I know what dates things should be due, but it means I've actually created a system where most Tuesdays I'm probably writing the blog post for 1 to 2 weeks from now. And then on Wednesday, I may be creating graphics. So I start to develop these like themes for every day unofficially, in a sense, where it's like, okay, Wednesdays, I got to create graphics, and you start to develop this routine and things are happening farther, you know, in advance. Yeah. And so suddenly I'm at a place now in my business where it's still, I have one assistant, so I don't have a designer. I'm still doing all the graphic design. I have one assistant, and, you know, she's not a full-time person at all. She just works a few hours a week, and she's super helpful, but it's still me doing 90%, especially with content. So the staff hasn't changed. My time hasn't changed. It's how I'm managing the process that's changed. And so now I genuinely release content every Tuesday. And last week I didn't, but that was an intentional decision where I prioritized a client project instead, but I still sent out an email, which is like the exact opposite of how my life was even a year ago. My content calendar wasn't that consistent, where I knew I could put out a blog post or an email or both or a video, you know, and now it's just become so easy. Not that writing is easier. Writing is still hard for me. It's still time consuming, but the process feels so much easier.
And that's more streamlined.
Yeah, it's just streamlined. It's not like, oh, I need to write that blog post for next Tuesday and I've done nothing. It's like, oh, I've kind of been working on this for like 1 to 2 weeks. Like I've already decided in advance what this content's going to be loosely about. Like I've been thinking about it. And so just doing that, even if it's just yourself, it's going to just remove some of that chaos and that last minute stress and that pressure that I think we all put on ourselves, because you're going to be able to decide, okay, I'm not going to publish this next week, but I'm doing that on purpose. I'm not doing that because the morning of I decided it wasn't to the level I wanted it to be at, or because I ran out of time. It was a decision. So I don't know, that just really has made a huge difference for me as someone who still feels like in a lot of ways I am a solopreneur, even though I have my amazing assistant. Like I'm still doing like almost everything in Asana is assigned to me still. Like I'm doing the bulk of the work. So I feel like I can really relate to the people who are solopreneurs and doing it all for themselves still.
Yeah, so let's all cling to the life preserver that is your new course and chat with us a little bit about that, because I'm going to link it below.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so it's called Asana HQ, and it's really, I am really proud of it, to say the least. I feel like it's a different approach to courses like this. You may have seen other courses out there. I haven't taken them. I'm sure they're wonderful, but people are doing courses kind of teaching you how to manage your projects and your tasks through different systems. And so I decided to create one about Asana because I use it so often, and I feel like I use it in a way I don't see other people use it or talk about it, and my clients love it. So really felt compared to help people, because I think I see a lot of times people asking questions where it's clear they just don't fully understand some of the power or the best strategies. So the course is actually broken up into 3 parts, 3 modules. Module 1 is all about teaching you how to use Asana. So this is more tech tutorial oriented. I go very in depth on how to use it, and I've had people that consider themselves Asana experts go through my program and tell me that they still learned new things, because Asana is always rolling out new features. And so if you don't take the time to re-explore, which you probably wouldn't if you consider yourself an expert, then you might have missed some of the functionality. So I take the time to really just break down how it all works. Then I talk about, at the end of that, 2 big things that I get asked about all the time. One is how to manage your actual tasks in Asana. So now you know how to use it, you've got tasks in there. How do you manage it? And so I teach how I manage the My Tasks pane in Asana. Asana, if you haven't used it before, what it does is it takes any task assigned to you and puts it all in one place for you to see them all. And it has some built-in features that people don't know. Like it automatically will bump things up if it's due within 7 days, and it's really cool. So I kind of go into my unique process for managing the My Tasks pane, which is so helpful. Every day, that's where I live. I know what I have to do. And then the second thing is really a foundational principle about using Asana for both personal and business, which is something I'm really starting to be more verbal about as I start to really experience the benefits of this myself. I don't have children, so my personal life is still fairly simple. It's my husband and I and our dogs and an apartment. But I kept feeling like my personal life was fighting my business life, and my business life was fighting my personal life. And I realized I'm such a systems person, but I was treating my personal life so different than my business. It's like, okay, I use all these great systems for my business, but for whatever reason, I'm using a notepad for my personal life, or I'm using my phone, or I'm using a paper planner, and they're separate when really I'm one person, and I have to do both personal and business things every day. So like, why am I looking in 3 different places for that information? So at the end of module 1, I talk about using Asana for both personal and business, which is what I teach. So then module 2, I have 20, I think it's 25 right now, copy and paste done for you project templates that cover business and personal, which is why I wanted to touch on that philosophy a little bit, because I have quite a few of those are personal projects that I use in Asana. So I kind of go through how I use all of these templates, give you tips on how you could customize it, whether it should be a list or a board, which is 2 different options in Asana. So module 2 is all about the copy and paste templates, which I'm just love so much, and I plan on continuing to add. Oh, good. I continue. I want to add more to those as students give feedback and ideas. I'm really excited. So right now, I think there's 25 in there. And then module 3 is like a little bit more advanced tips and tricks, specific tutorials that you don't necessarily have to use, but like you could use if you wanted to sync it to your Google Calendar, for example. I show you how to do that, or forward emails from your inbox to Asana as a task, things like that. So that's where I get a little bit more specific on like key features that you might want to use. So that's kind of what the course is all about. And it's really just trying to help people not start from zero, because I think that's the biggest holdup that people have when whether you're just starting a business or you're entering a new phase of your business and you've never done a webinar before. You're kind of like, what do I do? Or like you want to launch a course, you like start from a blank screen, and like that's always the hardest. So my plan is that you will customize these templates, but at least you aren't starting from a blank screen anymore. You have a foundation, you have an idea to start working with, and then you can customize it to you, your life, and your business. So I've gotten some really good feedback so far, so I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, well, I think it's so valuable because I remember watching some of your Asana tutorials, and it really helped me, especially the templates. And I'd be like, pause, and like, how do I do that myself, right? Because it helps to have someone else that's like, okay, you're writing a blog, here's all the different tasks. Because if you were to be like, hey, Michelle, what are all the steps to writing a blog? I'd be like, you write it, and like you upload it, and like my brain does work systematically, but not that detailed. So I love that you're going into that detail to really help people so that they can leverage their time. And it's like, I have another visibility summit coming up that we're recording in a couple weeks. And so that's where everything is, you guys. Like everything is outlined in my project, that summit. And what's great is that when I get like dietary restrictions or outlines from my speakers, like it all goes in Asana under their personalized name, so that when I go to create the landing pages and all of that in ClickFunnels, it's just a copy and paste situation instead of like checking the email and where is it and searching and trying to find everything. So I think it's such a huge time saver, whether you're making a blog or running an event, or like you said, for personal life. Like when I started using it for my cleaning schedule, that changed everything, right?
Isn't it so crazy? I mean, I had this moment where I was just literally, like I touched on a second ago, I was like, why am I treating my personal life like it's like the stepchild? Like I obviously care about not that stepchildren are bad, but that phrase. It's like, I care about my personal life. I have important things, obligations, relationships I want to maintain, tasks that take up time. And it's like, I shouldn't be just like putting those elsewhere. Like I should give that my best attention too, and putting it in Asana. For me, I use the My Tasks pane. So I go there, and I would previously just see business. And once I added personal, it was like, oh yeah, I need to go buy that birthday present. So I'm going to fit that into my day. And it's just like, duh, but like it was so cool to just be like, oh, here's everything that has to get done today: personal, business, client work. It's here, and now I can actually strategically approach all of my tasks instead of just part of them. Yeah. So I feel like it really makes a big difference.
I think so too. And like, you don't have to necessarily stick to it religiously. There are some days where I just can't do it and I take the day off. And even though I'm a little behind the next day, I at least know everything that has to get done. So I'm not spending half the day like, oh, I'm so overwhelmed, I don't know what to do. So I think that that's a huge, not selling point because it's free, but a huge.
No, I mean, I think that brings up a great point though, is that something I've struggled with as a person teaching systems and organization is this idea that I have to present myself as a perfect person, and I don't, and I'm not. So that's why I'm being honest with you guys. But just because I teach Asana and I know how to use it and set it up for success doesn't mean I don't wake up and have overdue tasks, because a lot of this, if you're running your own business, a lot of this is self-assigned, and there are going to be times where I need to do something and it's 4 o'clock and I'm burned. Like I have been working my butt off. I have achieved really important things, but I'm tired and I don't want to burn out, and I want to not get sick or get tired. So I'm going to listen to my body and say, you know what, we're going to worry about that tomorrow. And that's just going to be okay. And that's part of what I like to do to wrap up my day. Like before I leave, I will actually assess my to-do list in Asana, and I will go ahead and bump things. Like I'll just be like, got 3 things on this. I didn't write that. I didn't outline the blog post. Well, good thing I built out my process to have a 2-day buffer before my assistant needs to proofread it. So I'm going to bump that to tomorrow. Social media, like, okay, Instagram can wait. Like, that's totally fine. You know, so I'll like bump these things to tomorrow and like end my day with it all being reassigned already. Because I think that's a problem I've seen with, and this goes with any project management system, is you have to maintain them and keep them updated for them to be successful. Because if you just have a task that you're like, I'm going to do this on Tuesday, and then 2 weeks later you still haven't done it, but it still has that old due date on it, that's not helping you. Like, you might see it and be like, oh, that's so overdue, I should do that today. But like, obviously that motivation is not helping you. So what you really need to be doing is maintaining it and keeping it updated and saying, okay, that's overdue, I'm going to prioritize that for today, or go ahead and decide I'll do that tomorrow, or I'll skip that this month, or, you know, what are those things you can do, but don't just like let it linger there overdue for 3 weeks. Like, you have to keep moving them forward and reassigning them. Otherwise you're going to have one day that's got like 10 overdue tasks plus 10 actually due tasks, and you're going to have 20 things on your to-do list.
So.
Well, you should work on that after this call, is redelegate those. Yeah, well, because that's when you get to the point of overwhelm. And that's when, with any system you use, if you let it overflow a little bit like that and backlog, you're going to open it up and be like, ooh, I should just delete everything and start over, shouldn't I? Like, oh, I'm not even going to open this, which is not what we want to do. So we want to be maintaining any systems we use. Same thing with even Gsuite folders. If you stop filing things where they belong, suddenly you're going to have an unorganized Gsuite with 20 files sitting around in the wrong place, and it's going to defeat the purpose, because you're not going to be able to find things where they're supposed to be. It doesn't mean you have to be perfect every minute of every day, but there are workarounds. Like in Gsuite, I have a folder. There's one folder on Gsuite actually shared with my computer, and it's called Inbox. And so that is my temporary holding space for things I know I want in Gsuite, but I don't have the time to organize it right now. So it'll just be like, boop, it's going to go to the inbox. And I should do that every week, is audit my inbox and file it. But there are weeks where it doesn't, and it piles up a little bit, and I have to set aside more time, but I know it's being backed up and it's in one place. So like, I kind of know, and I know if I've audited or not, so I know where it lives. But you know, creating those spots for yourself, if you know that's an area you struggle with, create an inbox folder where it's still all in one place, or do that in even Asana. It has an inbox for you, and your My Task page is kind of that holding spot, because even if something doesn't have a project, it will still be in your My Task page. So just kind of thinking through whatever systems you're using and being aware of like, what are those gaps, and just like doing something to try to find a little happy medium there.
I had no idea that you could sync one of your desktop folders to Gsuite. So
yeah, so you
should
do that.
A YouTube tutorial on that. So just so
okay,
noted.
Well, so you can download, if you download like Google Drive to your computer, it will by default try to sync all of your folders, which defeats the whole purpose, because then your computer gets full, and then that's too many channels back and forth. So that you don't want to do that. But while you're installing it, you can choose one folder. So if you add something to it in either place in Google Drive or in your computer, it will be in that folder, and they'll communicate. And then in Google Drive, if you move it from that one folder to the right folder, it will be removed from your computer as well.
Ooh, this is fascinating, exciting.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, it's nice if you let it pile up, it will start taking up space on your computer, but it is really nice to just have this shared spot where I can just directly drop a file there and know that it's saved, even if I don't have time to like open the browser and put it in the folder. But like, so it's kind of a neat happy medium.
Yeah, I love that. Oh my gosh. Okay. Before we move forward, I want to just highlight something for you guys, because a lot of you have seen my branding months. You've taken my branding quiz. You watched my branding thing in the last summit. And so I don't know if you heard me, but I said that the branding color orange is really underutilized in our industry, and that I think that it really would be amazing if more people started using it. When I first released my course, Branding Like a Badass, the synchronicity was just so funny, because Megan rebranded. And what color do you think she chose?
Orange.
What's so exciting about this color is that, I don't know if you know this, Megan, but it symbolizes balance. It is linked to our pancreas, which is our balance organ, and it really symbolizes the balance of physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. So for me, watching Megan rebrand and choosing this color, I was like, yes, 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 because it's so perfect for what she does and what she helps facilitate in other people's businesses. So I wanted to tie that in really quick, Megan, because I
I
think
love
that
that.
was so, so cool that you chose that.
Thank you. It's like become my favorite. I have like technically three main colors that I can use. And I just found myself using orange, like time and time again. It's like a orange, a pink, and then like a peach. And I was like, well, that pink feels really feminine. My whole audience isn't feminine. Like I have a good balance of men and women. And so it's like, and I loved the orange. And I think like the week I rebranded, you sent an email that was sharing this with me about how orange, what a great color it is and how much meaning there is behind it. And I did not know that. Like I genuinely was like I hired a designer. I put on my big girl business pants and like I had been DIYing, and I'm the type of person that if I'm DIYing and I'm a perfectionist, it's never going to be good enough. I'm always going to be bothered by it. And so it became a thing for me that was like, I need to just hire a professional because then I'll be really happy and I won't keep worrying about it. And so when we were talking about color, I knew orange was one of the colors I wanted. But I just love the way it turned out. And I love that meaning, which is just so cool because I didn't know that.
Yeah,
So
I think that you
now I feel
were brilliant.
balanced.
Good. It's brilliant. I think it's great to always know what the intention and the meaning is behind your colors. I think a lot of people, especially people that are VAs, they don't quite know how to brand themselves. And I'm not telling all of you go out and choose orange. That would be a disaster. But I'm saying, like, look at specifically at the clients that you're helping and what are you helping them achieve. And that's a really, really great way to get balanced with your brand colors. But
I love that.
anyway, okay, so as we wrap up, my darling, I'd love to know, how are you? I know that you were close to Hurricane Harvey. How's the community doing? How's everything going?
Yeah, so I live in Houston, Texas, and so we were really fortunate. Specifically, my apartment, we were fine. We were very close to flooding, but we were up a hill, and I'm on the second story, so like our complex was fine. The community, it's almost surreal. I have several friends like me that weren't our specific homes are okay, but we have so many family friends, family of friends, like people we know in our network that have been really, really affected by it. And so it's almost this surreal combination of like, well, we're fine. So you have some of the community that life is back to normal. And then you have a huge part of the community that still is renovating their house, tearing things out, still has mold on furniture and in the house, and just really dealing with the after effects. And so, I mean, I was so proud of the way my city responded and the state and other states nearby. Just the way the country responded was really, really amazing to witness. But I'm okay, and most of our community, everyone seems to be in positive spirits. Like even people I've talked to that had, their home flooded with 6 feet of water are very positive. Like they have a good mindset about it, and they're just moving forward. And they've been shown a lot of love by family and friends and help. So I think everything's good, but it was kind of just a strange period of time. But it was really cool as someone who talks about tech a lot online. Almost every software company that I work with emailed me and like offered to donate and like asked how they could help. And the idea that these are pretty large companies, and the idea that they knew, that doesn't mean doesn't mean I'm important. That just means how good they are, I think, at customer service, that they knew I was in Houston and that they felt compelled enough to like reach out. And I hope they reached out to other people that live in Houston too. But it was this really unexpected, like positive light in all of it, to just be like, wow, like people who have companies that aren't in the United States are like reaching out and showing support. And so it was really cool.
That's really, really neat. And for those of you listening, if you're feeling compelled to help out, there is an organization that I'll link below called Samaritan's Purse. They literally have their boots on the ground right now helping people rebuild their homes. So I will link that below in case you feel led to donate. And darling, as we depart, let's chat a little bit about the wonderful freebie that you are giving away and any last words of wisdom.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. So what I want to give you guys is since we talked about Gsuite and how much we love that and file organization, is I have a file organization cheat sheet that's going to show you as a business owner exactly what files you need to have in your business and how to start getting those organized, which I think is such a helpful jumping off point. So you can get that by going to meganmins.com/visibility, and you'll be able to download that there. And then as far as like words of wisdom go, it's just, I'm still learning too, so I'm sure someone else might have other words of wisdom that are good too, but I feel like when it comes to systems and processes and growing your business, it's all about just making progress and moving forward and doing the best you can to just not stop. I think a lot of us get hung up. Everyone has their own hang-ups. Maybe it's tech, maybe it's your website, maybe it's your brand, maybe it's your perfect pricing structure or your product tagline. We all have our moments of things that cause us to pause. And what I want to encourage you is to push through that, because you can always evolve and tweak things once they're out there. But it's the hardest thing is just getting it out there. So like push publish on that blog post, like share that thing on social media, send that email out, like just start doing the things, even if it's not 100% where you want it. And even if you don't have the perfect website, like there's no such thing, like just keep making progress and keep putting yourself out there. And for those of you newer in business, even us that have been in it for a few years, business is always evolving and your business should evolve. So be open to that when you're starting out. For me, I was very stuck in, well, I said this is what I offer, so I can't ever change away from that, and that's just going to hold you back. So just be open to the change and the evolution and like let it go where it's supposed to go. So that would be my words of wisdom.
I think those are great words of wisdom. We're all work in progress. We're all constantly evolving. You will never get to a certain point where you're like, yes, I've made it,
Yeah.
I think that's a huge misconception in our industry. So Megan, I adore you so much. Thank you for everything that you do, for how many of us you've helped simplify and organize and just be that light for those of us that aren't quite at the point where we can hire someone, so that we feel a little bit more in control and a little less stressed about our business. I've loved having you on the show, and hopefully we'll have you back in the future. And in the meantime, we're sending you so much love and success for your Asana course that's new and anything else you create in the future.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so wonderful. I'd love to come back and check in with everyone. So thank you so much. This was so great.
Absolutely. Okay, you guys, we will see you next week for a brand new episode. In the meantime, check below, get all the links, the freebie, the course, everything we've talked about. Click those 3 little dots that say view full description, and you'll see everything with hyperlinks, so you can click right away and let us know if you love this episode. I'm sure Megan and myself would love to hear from you. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening in today to the Visibility Vixen podcast. Subscribe now and share with a fellow Vixen who wants to start building their visibility. For more fire in your life and brand, visit visibilityvixen.com.